Evening, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday night presentation. And I know we're a small group, but that means that we'll whiz through the presentation and then we will have time for questions and answers, which we don't normally have. So for those of you who don't know me, I think most of you probably know who I am. I'm Merle. I live in Durban, South Africa. We all are all from South Africa on this call, I think. I'm not sure. And I was introduced to LifeWave in December 2022. And I was shown just a YouTube of David Schmidt talking to healthcare professionals. And it made perfect sense to me. And since I've been in complementary therapies for 30 years this year, I thought, well, I'm in a patch, but I was disillusioned with multi-level marketing. So I said, I'm never going to tell another person, I'm just going to patch. And then I had a result in my first week, and my shoulder that I'd injured in 2012 improved so dramatically that when a friend phoned me to complain about her shoulder, I said, well, I've got this patch and I'm going to send a couple to you and let's see what happens. And she was a one patch wonder. And the rest is history. So 20 months later, I was a senior presidential director, having said I was telling nobody. And in the last, how many months? Since June last year, I've done 5 international trips linked to LifeWave, and I'm about to go on another one in May. So LifeWave has completely consumed my life. For the first year, I still did therapy and I still ran nutrition courses. I'm also a low-carb nutritionist. I wrote the Low Carb Creed with Sally Ann Creed in it came out in 2016. But I stopped online coaching because my focus and attention all went to LifeWave, because I realized that I can change more people's lives by getting them patched than I can by doing therapy. Because as I grow a team, so more people are being impacted. Nina will be pleased to know, because Nina and I have known each other for probably the longest on this call. We trained as life alignment teachers way back when, well, as vortex teachers. I still see my clients who've been with me for many, many years. I've got clients who've been with me since 1999. So I still see those people. Haven't given them up. But other than that, I don't take any new clients anymore. There just isn't the capacity for that. Anyway, I'm going to be presenting this evening with Alex, who I also met through Life Alignment when I taught her in 2001. And Alex comes from a medical background. And when I introduced Alex to the patches, she was very, very skeptical. She's like, no, I'm not doing this. But she can tell you that story. I don't know. Are you going to introduce yourself now, Alex? You're muted. There you go.
Okay, so I don't mind. I'll do that quickly. I'm a nurse by formal training, and I've owned a whole variety of businesses and things. So I've had an interesting professional life, and I worked in the pharmaceutical industry on a specialist level for about 30 years. So when I was introduced to this, it really did sound like nonsense, and I wasn't going to get involved in this. And then I also can't bear MLMs. They're just my worst. So I then was approached by a friend whose brother got dementia at 66, and they were prepared to do anything. So I said I would then be prepared to look at this, because allopathic medicine or normal medicine has nothing that changes anything. And that sent me on a dive that took about 2 or 3 months of looking at videos, and really when you first look at it, so don't, when anybody tells you they Googled it, you really need to do a digger deep on that. Because this patch is an industry disruptor. And so what will float to the top is all the stuff that is being posted by everybody that says it's not real. So if you want to do proper research, you need to do proper research. So I went on to PubMed and academia and all sorts of places to look at real stuff. I also investigated the company because of my phobia about MLMs. And the company's been around for 20 years. This is not being made in a garage by somebody who's got a good idea. There is proper science behind it and a proper manufacturing facility. And the ethics and the honesty and the integrity and the commitment is not like anything I've ever seen before. So then I had to make a choice, and I got involved because I had a thing called polymyalgia, and that's many inflamed muscles, which I'd had for 20 years. And I lived on cortisone, Lyrica, anti-inflammatories, duloxetine, to run 2 businesses, 3 children, a husband, a home, and just a normal life. So I started patching for the inflammation that was polymyalgia, which is autoimmune. And some days were good, some days were bad. Some days I was really tired, some days I was really sore. But after 10 months, I woke up pain-free and I've never had polymyalgia pain since. So I got some bits along the way, like sleeping better and losing all the wrinkles that I'd acquired and my hair that had all fallen out coming back. And even my eyelids have lifted. Um, I've now been patching for about 18 months and I will never stop because I'm never going back to the pain story in terms of me and my life. But my only word is to encourage you to not give up too soon. Because if I had stopped at 3 months or 4 months or 6 months or 8 months, I wouldn't be here telling you the story. So that's probably my most important message. Okay, cool.
Thanks, Alex. Okay, let's jump into the presentation. I'm just going to screen share. Just give me a sec to get it up. Okay, so we always start off by asking, have you been patched yet? So some of you have been patched, some of you may not have been patched, some of you might be waiting for your patches to arrive, but patches elevate, activate, and regenerate your body. So we can't look at LifeWave without looking at David Schmidt, who's our CEO and inventor of X39. And on a recent webinar with him, they said he's just registered his 200th patent. So it's no longer 130, he's got over 200. And some of the patents are for products that have not even come to market yet. Others are coming to market later this year and next year. They're already scheduled. So David's not a medical doctor, but he does have a degree in human biology. He's a scientist and inventor, and he now specializes in age reversing. So in 2008, when the whole stem cell industry started, well, in the pharmaceutical industry, stem cells became the buzzword, or in the medical industry, David started focusing his attention on stem cell research because he said if you can inject other stem cells into somebody or put them in an infusion, why can't we reactivate our own stem cells or elevate our own stem cells? And that was what he started focusing on. The patent for X39 took 10 years and 4.5 million US dollars to bring to market. So what does a patent mean? So having a patent means that nobody can copy what we have. So the product was patented in 2020. We have 15 years left on the patent, and that's really important when you're in a multi-level marketing company to know that nobody can copy what you have, and also that all the research has been done, money's been spent to get a patent. He's had to prove what's in it, and so we know that we're pretty protected by having that. So what does our patent say? It says it's the embodiment as a result of elevating copper peptide, including the activation of stem cells, improvement in energy, elevation of antioxidants, reduction in inflammation, management of pain, improvements in stamina, elevation of collagen production, and improved wound healing. So it's quite a list of things, but the most important thing is, and the only thing that they can test, or the company can test, is that copper peptides are elevated. So that happens, and then as Alex says, she went and did all the research on what do copper peptides do, and if you go to all those medical journals, you'll find that copper peptides, one of the things they do is activate stem cells or dormant stem cells. So why X39 stem cell activation patches? The fewer stem cells you have, the faster you age and the slower you heal. And we know that as we get older, people don't heal as fast as they did before. So hundreds of millions of people are experiencing symptoms of aging. But something that I didn't know when I started with LifeWave, even though I've been in healing for 30 years, was that by the time you turn 30, only half your stem cells are active. And by 60, you have almost no stem cell activity. Of course, it depends on the kind of lifestyle you've led. If you've had a healthy diet, you've drunk a lot of water, you've exercised, you've had good sleep, you've controlled stress, you're going to have more stem cells than somebody who's been a couch potato and they've eaten takeaways their whole life. But still, by 60, you've got hardly any stem cell activity. So how does X39 work? So it's a proprietary form of phototherapy, which means it's a light therapy. And we all know that light therapy has been around for a very long time. A very simple example is you go out in the sun hits your skin, and it sends a message into your body. It's all linked to cholesterol and a whole lot of other things. That means that you're going to manufacture vitamin D. jaundice babies are put under lights. Light therapy is used in wound healing. It's used by physios. It's used by chiros, that kind of thing. But in this case, it's patented nanocrystal technology. So the little white area in the middle of the patch is a lattice of nanocrystals made of amino acids. And what happens is when the light from your skin hits the patch, it sends a signal back into the body, which turns on certain switches, and your body starts to produce copper peptides. It's non-transdermal. There are no drugs, chemicals, or stimulants, and it's non-invasive, and that's what's so exciting about it. What are the benefits of X39? Now, many of us who've been patching for a while have experienced all of these benefits, but even if you only experienced a few, or you looked at this list and thought I needed a few, it could make a huge difference in your life. So increased strength, mental clarity, reduced inflammation, restored muscle or skeletal conditions, increased stamina, improvements of sleep, energy and vitality, improved skin appearance. Now, true story, one of the chiropractors in the team was actually asked by somebody that we both know, a mutual friend, whether I was using Botox. They were too scared to ask me, and it's just patching. There's no Botox, definitely not. Anyway, LifeWave products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. And that's really important because people are always looking for testimonies for the conditions that they may have or the people that they're introducing LifeWave to may have. And when you understand what the patches do, you don't need those testimonies, although testimonies are great. And we're going to get, you've already heard Alex's, you've heard about my shoulder, and we're going to give you some other testimonies. There are amazing testimonies, but that's not what LifeWave claims. So this is also technology. So the patches are technology, but this is technology too. And it's a topography map of a 77-year-old woman's brain. So in session 1, she hadn't been patched at all, and you can see the inflammation in the brain. That red area is all inflammation. So she hadn't used X39, inflammation in the brain, and there's a lack of brain coherence. By session 2, which is 3 weeks on X39, there's no more inflammation in the brain, and there's improved brain coherence. Now she's been patching 12 hours on, 12 hours off, just with X39. By session 3, which is 6 weeks on X39, there's a complete turnaround and better brain coherence. And the longer she keeps patching, the more improvement there is going to be. So it's quite amazing that we can actually see this. And without this technology, we wouldn't be able to see what X39 was actually doing in the body. So the long-term results of X39, and this is per case studies on thisisatinfo.com, which is an amazing website, and everything there is backed by clinical trials. So it's not just a collection of all sorts of strange or random things that somebody has decided they're going to pull out of the sky and put out there because it looks interesting. This is all backed up. So in the first few days, 4,000 genes begin to reset. Within 6 weeks, as we've just seen on the previous slide, the brain becomes balanced. Within 3 months, your collagen is increased. Now, collagen is not just your skin, your hair, your nails, and the outside appearance. Whatever's happening outside is happening inside too. So collagen is important for your digestive system. It holds all your organs together. For your cartilage, for your bones, everything needs collagen. So the more collagen you have, the better your body is going to be. Within 6 months, and again, this is a clinical trial, the heart reverses in age. So David Schmidt says, this is not anti-aging, it's age reversing. When you do those medicals and they tell you what your biological age is and what they're assessing it as, your age should be going backwards. So how do we wear X39? We wear our patch 12 hours on and 12 hours off. If you look at the picture on the right, those are the 2 recommended positions, but you can wear X39 anywhere on the body. And we do that to repair and rejuvenate. Then we throw the patch away, or many people put it on their husbands, their children, their furry friends, and even their plants. And I've seen incredible results when people patch plants, even anything that emits light, you can put your patch onto. And we don't wear it for more than 12 hours because of something called attenuation. If you wear the patch too long, your body no longer responds to the signal that's sent in. It becomes used to it and it's not going to do what it should be doing. The next day, we put on a new patch and repeat. Now, you can wear more than one patch at a time because we have patches like Eon and Icewave and glutathione and carnosine that can be worn during the day, and you can wear X39 with X49 even, or with one of the supplementary patches. And then when we say don't wear a patch more than 12 hours, it's per patch. So no X39. When you take off X39, at night you could use something like aloe vera. Aloe vera is amazing for skin and it's also incredible for sleep. But then there's also silent night. Some people wear Eon at night. So you can be wearing a patch 24 hours a day, but not the same patch. And then it's important to drink plenty of water and if possible to add electrolytes because electrolytes are really important. The majority of the world's population is deficient in electrolytes. We're not getting enough minerals from our food. So X39 is so sophisticated, yet it's so simple to explain. The testimonies of X39 are life-changing and emotional. And the best thing about X39 is that it absolutely works. So we are going to stop sharing there and we are going to go into some testimonies. And even some people who are on the call have messaged me to say that load shedding's hit and they've fallen off. So we're back into that if you're in South Africa, which is great fun or not. So I don't know, Nina, I know you have a testimony or lots of testimonies. I don't know if anybody else would like to share. You need to unmute, Nina.
If I go right back to the beginning, which was now about 14 or 15 months ago, the very first result that I had was that my sleep improved, the quality of my sleep improved. And that actually makes a difference to everything else. I started using X39 because of gut inflammation, which I think I'd had for years, and my symptoms have cleared up. Occasionally, I have a bit of a something that happens, but on the whole, I'm much, much better. And I think it was also affecting my brain. My brain probably looked a bit like that topography map that you saw earlier. I've had so many brain changes, but the most exciting for me has been that I don't struggle for words in the middle of a sentence in the way that I used to. My speech had become much more hesitant. So it does still a bit if I'm tired, but otherwise it's no longer a problem, and a lot of other memory things as well. And then what else? I can walk barefoot on the grass again. I'd gone through quite a long period of not being able to because my heels were so split. And I love walking barefoot. So that's been great. My circulation is better. My cholesterol is back to normal. And my latest thing is that the roots of my hair are coming back. I don't know if you can see it here, to their original color. So this really is age reversing. I'm sure I've left a whole lot of things out because every few weeks I've had some other result.
A new story.
It's been amazing. I mean, it really has just been one thing after another. Yeah,
You absolutely have, Nina. So thank you for that.
Okay.
So, Alex, I know you've had some incredible testimonies this week. I don't know if anybody else on the call would like to share testimonies or if you have any. Marlene, I don't know how long you've been patching for, if you have any testimonies yet.
Yeah, well, it's actually been amazing for me. I've only been patching, what, Nina? About 2 months,
I think about 2 months, yeah.
Oh, long enough to, okay. Brilliant.
Yeah, for years and years, for 40 years, I've worked in the darkroom as a photographer, and I've never had any nails, and I've got nails. I mean, they're growing. It's unbelievable, and they're hard, and I've never had it in. I turned 60 last week, and I also noticed that, the odd wrinkles, and there's definitely been a difference in my life, definitely, without a doubt. So I'm using the X39 and the Eon, and I've just ordered the glutathione. Yeah, so I'm quite amazed.
Oh, that's incredible. So if you haven't had my nails also,
It's amazing. Yeah.
they just grow like crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, if that's happening, because I've had lots of bones breaking and hips breaking and wrists breaking. So, if that's what it's doing to the nails, I would only imagine that it's improving the bones.
Absolutely. You muted, Alex. She's going, yes, sure. I can do Alex speak.
For sure.
But you've had some incredible testimonies this week.
I've had a really good week. I've had a dog that was bitten by a snake, whose owner eventually chose to patch, because I think the vet didn't want to take the responsibility for saying don't patch. He's quite an important vet in the area. And the dog's blood count, I don't know what it was about because she's a layperson, so she wasn't able to give me too much of the detail, but the count was over 2,000, whatever that was, and the dog had pancreatitis. They couldn't even register the count on the machine, and when she came back the next day, it was 600. And that wasn't the vet. That was because she had the courage to patch. That dog was really sick and had been sick for a whole week. So that was a huge thing.
Was
And
that
then,
X39, Alex?
yeah, and Aeon.
And
And then eventually we added glutathione. It's a tiny little thing. It's a real bitzer. It's a tiny little thing, but it's like a really precious thing in this family. And then somebody else in my downline phoned me and said, I stopped playing squash at 50 because I couldn't because my knees hurt. And now I can play squash. And all she's used is X39. So, and then I have another one, which is somebody with a very, very rare genetic cancer that has already caused him to have one leg amputated. And we're trying to work with pain on the other leg, but the whole leg is desloughing. So the whole leg is just sort of coming apart. And out of desperation, I put an X39 and an Aeon on in terms of, and when they went to have their dressings the following day, the nursing sister said, what have you done? And that was one day. So it was a good week.
A very good week. And I mean,
Yeah.
you've also had that lady who stopped patching because she didn't think it was going to work and then couldn't talk.
Oh yeah, she had degeneration of her brainstem. So she used for about 4 or 5 or 6. That's an edited version of what she had, but she used for about, I can't remember how many months. And then she stopped because she said it was doing nothing. And then I got a phone call, which I thought was her, but was her husband, because she couldn't speak, to say she thinks they were doing something. Please, could we start again? So we ordered patches again. So she was wobbling. She had plasters all over from falling. And 5 days later, I saw her phoning me again. So I picked it up and said hello to what I thought was her husband and used his name. And it was her who said, hello, it's me. I've got a whole lot of people here. Can you come on Friday or Saturday? What suits you best? Not like that. Her speech is still hesitant, but she could talk and she had the courage to phone me, which previously she wasn't able to verbalize that. And that was 5 days of patching. So, yeah, good stories.
Amazing, amazing stories. And you know, things come in waves often and they take longer, like Alex is saying. So this week, on the chat groups, Arlene, who is one of my first line in Australia, she's now an executive director. When she started patching, she had had a tumor removed from her heart, non-cancerous tumor, and a double mastectomy a year before. And she had neuropathy, fibromyalgia. She could barely pick anything up. There were a whole lot of things on blood pressure medication. She had very, very sore ribs. Now, quite quickly, her neuropathy went, her blood pressure normalized, her fibromyalgia went, and then her scars started going. And then she said, she's a year younger than me, but she said, I've not got granny hands anymore. So if she pinched the skin on her hands, the skin didn't stay up in peaks. And then it took a year, and a year later, she leant on something where her ribs always used to hurt if she leant on something, and her ribs felt better. She started patching because she had osteoporosis because of all her cancer treatment. But so then she was poking her ribs, and then I saw her in Cape Town about just over a month ago because she was in South Africa for a month. She's back in Australia, and I went to go and see her, and you can barely see her scars. So when she started, they were raised and you could see them even on video, and then we couldn't see them on video, but in person you can't see them. And she's just got back to Australia, seen her dentist, and her dentist has said they'd said they were worried because she had teeth issues that she couldn't have implants because her gums were not her gums, her jawbone wasn't any good for implants. And now her dentist is saying your gum disease is gone and your jaw is fine, which is amazing. And now my husband, 2 years in, his dentist has said he no longer has the hereditary gum disease that he had. He said other improvements along the way, but 2 years in, his dentist has said it's not there. And his late mom had to have triangles of gum cut out between every tooth because the gum disease he has, your teeth don't move, but your gums become like stretched. And they took triangles between every single tooth and then stitched them. And his gums are now perfect. There's no sign of any gum disease. And he's had it, so, well, all his life. I mean, he knew from his 20s they started treating it, but there's nothing anymore. And it's quite interesting because Onyx Kolu, who is one of the reason that we are all here, she found it and then she introduced Steve and Gina, who are part of This Is It, and that's how we all ended up here. She has very detailed x-rays of her gum. She had gum disease too, and hers is also gone. So it is something that does seem to go, and it just seems to maybe take longer than other things. But in each person's body, the healing is going to happen in the order that it's meant to happen. So I had a result in my shoulder in the first week, but it was only 2 years in that I can say that my shoulder, I would say, is now 100%. Because I had a relapse last December where things came to the surface again. I did chiro, I did a whole lot of other things because we're not using other therapies. Carried on patching, and that was like the layers of the onion. And now my shoulder is really, really good. So let's go back to the presentation. So as I said, this is at info.com is where you'll find all the information. You'll find the patents, you'll find the clinical trials, you will find amazing videos, one that explains how the light works, Dr. Leyland Stillman talking or in an interview with Steve Merritt about exactly what he thinks of the patches. He used to inject his patients with stem cells. Now he rather patches them. At the bottom of the site, you'll find an interview with doctors, everybody from anesthetists, cardiovascular surgeons, chiropractors, GPs, all talking about why they use LifeWave in their practices. A lot of them were very skeptical to start with, and they talk about that. So it's really a place that you can go and you can spend 10 minutes or you could spend days over weeks looking at it. So over to you, Alex. You need to unmute.
Thank you for giving me the short end. So as I mentioned before, this is a 20-year-old company. We're open in over 80 countries now. And the most significant thing about this is that it's not a me too company. So we have a patent that is valid for the next 15 years. In order to get the patent, it had to be unique information. There is nothing else like this, full stop. So from a business point of view, it's a massive opportunity. There is literally no direct competition. You can see that the company was doing a turnover of about 20 million in 2021. And if we take it to last year, we did over 600 million because this patch was launched in 2019, X39. So LifeWave is now ranked as the #1 momentum company in business for home.org, which is a US ranking system. We have grown since 2019, 3,000%. Anybody who knows anything about business at all will understand that A, that is unprecedented. It simply does not happen. And we weren't coming off a no base. And secondly, we've never had a logistic issue. And with a growth like that, to not run out of anything means the company is seriously well planned, looked after, and resourced in terms of being able to deliver what people need. So these are the LifeWave Bravo Awards and things like that, which are important in terms of recognition in the US. And apparently we are up for this again this year, which is in this industry quite significant as an accolade. So here's the time to ask. It's actually important to pause for a moment and not just see this as a slide. What is important? Do you want less debt? Lots of people do. Do you want more time for your family? Do you want freedom? And if you do want freedom, what would you do with that? I'm about to go to Cape Town to see my daughter, but I take my business with me because I carry a laptop. Security, better health. There's so many reasons to get involved, which is what makes this business or the business component of this a relatively uncomplicated business to do. Our compensation plan is really easy, and I'm not going to go into too much detail because it just becomes words if you don't understand the whole system. We work on a binary where we have two teams, and so all you ever build is two teams. You put two people right and two people left, and by the time you've got four people, you can pay for your own patches, and the system grows from there. So for now, that's as much as you really need to know. You can see on the left-hand side that the team commission, you can earn up to $25,000 each week, not month, week, and it's USD. Between two people each side, and that is a relatively long way, but that all depends on how hard you work. So we also have matching bonuses, which as far as I'm aware is unique in this industry. And matching bonuses is why we all work as teams. Because the more we support each other and the more the teams grow, the more we all benefit. So we benefit to 3 levels down from the success of the people below us. And we get rewarded by the company for helping those people below us grow their businesses. So on your first level, you would get 25% of whatever money that person earns. On your second and third level, you'll get 20% of whatever money. And that money comes from the company. It doesn't come away from the person who earned it. So it's a company bonus for saying, thank you for doing the work that you do to make the business work as efficiently as it does. So there are various ways to enter this business. You can see them on the screen. I'll mention them briefly. It's $295, which is 3 sleeves of X39, $535, which is 6 sleeves of X39, or premium, which is for a doctor or a chiro or a physio or a true entrepreneur. It's not an enormous amount of money to invest in a business. If you are buying a business, you can buy into this business and it's all product if you come in at core. You're not paying a joining fee. You're getting all product for the money that you pay for about just over 6,000 Rand. I don't know if any of you have ever bought a business, but they definitely don't cost that. So it really does depend on where you fit in and who you would need to patch. How many people in your house you would need to patch, or how many patches you would need or would like to have to share with your friends or family. The more patches you purchase, don't worry to go back, Merle, I'll just mention that. The larger the different the cost of the patches comes down incrementally, the more patches you purchase. So that's quite an important thing as well. You can also be what is called a preferred customer, which means you just have to sign on to get your patch every single month. And you get the wholesale price and it gets delivered to your home by the courier guy, but you do have to tick a box that says you'll get the patch every month. So on the screen now, you can see 2 websites, the one you've been told about, which is the clinical product side of the website. The other side of the website, which is this is a team, is like your franchisee manual, which is virtual. It's unbelievably comprehensive. So to anybody who is going to get involved in the business, and I encourage you to do that, go and look at that website. Go through that website. Everything is on there. And for most of us, let's talk about a business concept. Most of us have sold time for money. And there are only 24 hours in the day. And even if you worked all of them, it is still time for money. This is an opportunity to build your residual income because it's all over the world and people are earning money while they sleep. So That's the business. I seriously encourage you to have a good look at this. And it's not difficult to do because you can hear from the results that we get that it's about telling a story, and it's not hard to tell a story. You don't have to wait for other people's stories. You don't have to wait for your own story. I mean, there are thousands, literally, of stories of peoples whose lives have been absolutely changed. And it's not a belief system. This is not a philosophy. This is science. You don't have to believe it will do this. Whether you believe it or not, if you drink the water and take the electrolytes and put the patch on for 12 hours a day and 12 hours off a day, you will heal. How long it will take, nobody knows. But it's not black magic. It's real science. You are regenerating stem cells and they heal you. Okay, I'm done.
Thanks, Alex, and thanks everybody for being with us this evening.